TD Cowen says that Bitcoin is headed to $141,000 by December. Not quite as hyperbolic as the predictions of the past, but here we are after a small dip in Bitcoin. And the Fed today having a payments innovation conference focusing on Bitcoin and crypto. Yes, that Fed, the Federal Reserve of the United States of America, who has long been dismissive and hateful of our beloved industry. We're going to unpack all of this, of course, with Andrew and Tillman, but also with special guest Matt Sorensen, the CEO of Directed IRA. Let's go.
Let's go.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please like and subscribe and know that I am marked safe from the AWS outage of yesterday. I survived it. However, my Robinhood account did not, but that did not prevent it from buying some sweet, sweet dips at the dead bottom using the Arch Public algorithms while I was asleep at 2 a.m. this morning. But we'll talk about that later because we got to welcome on Matt. First time on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Scott. I don't know what I got myself into, but I'm in for it.
Nope.
Whatever it is.
You're totally screwed. Good morning. Enjoy that. You're going to be very unhappy that you got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to talk to these three dumbos over here.
I couldn't wait.
To be honest, I wish it was Andrew and Tillman's first time because it would erase all of our long history of terrible content. But here we are, joined by Matt. And listen, right here, let's just jump right in. Bitcoin to 141K. We were at 126 like 2 weeks ago, but now these are the headlines. These are when we're looking for a hyperbolic, ridiculous prediction to try to get people to click on the title. Now we have to talk about 141. What happened to 200, 250, 300 by New Year's? One little dip here. But I guess the most important part here is that they're saying the 19 billion flash crash proved Bitcoin's resiliency. You'll notice that it doesn't say crypto's resiliency because all of that went to zero for about 5 minutes. Yeah. So what do we make of TD Cowen's prediction here? 141.
Well, they're just another entry into the Bitcoin space, right? So whether it's Standard Chartered, whether it's JP Morgan, whether it's Goldman Sachs, whether it's Morgan Stanley, as I mentioned on last week's show, if you haven't been invited to the party, you've got to crash the party, because if you're not there, you don't matter, right? Just like the NFL is a copycat league, financial services is absolutely a copycat league. So once the voices get loud enough, and when Larry Fink showed up a year and a half ago, I knew this would happen. Like, it may take a little bit of time for everybody to be like, wait, what's Larry doing over there? And then you have $100 billion go into IBIT. Now everybody has to have an opinion. Everybody has to put out a research paper. Everybody has to put out a price target. Everybody has to be involved because it's now a meaningful part of traditional financial conversations. And so, here's just another additional voice in the space that has to say something, that has to put a stake in the ground, or else their customers are going to be like, what are you guys doing on Bitcoin? Or else I'm going to take my money over to blankety blank blank blank. So you don't want customers doing that. That's the worst case scenario.
We even have Vanguard likely coming back, who was the most aggressively anti-crypto, said it would never happen. They would never offer the ETFs. We haven't gotten exact clarity on when and if that will happen, but it's definitely on the docket now. So to your point, you've got BlackRock leading. If you've got Vanguard bringing up the rear as the caboose, everybody's going to get on the
Everybody's in between. Yeah.
Well, I'd say don't forget about Fidelity. The biggest player of retirement accounts out there. They've been bullish on retirement accounts and Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And now you got crypto president. You got a lot of stuff happening in Washington, D.C. that's going to make it easier for retirement accounts, which is where $50 trillion is. There's $50 trillion in U.S. retirement accounts, and that's starting to get more and more allocation to Bitcoin as well.
That's not a small number. 50 trillion is not a small number. And by the way,
it's huge.
That's just in the United States. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the U.S. retirement account market as of the second quarter. It's probably gone up another trillion since then. But, there's every year, there's a couple $1 trillion going in, and it's like everyday Americans' dollars and cents going in, and they're trying to save and build for a retirement account. Fidelity will let you allocate up to 20% into crypto out of your retirement account there if your employer allows it. But there's other things happening there, adding greater access to investors to invest their 401k or IRA. So it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we talk about, in a second. Yeah.
We talk about this notion all the time about a rising tide floats all ships, and the stage in which we find ourselves in Bitcoin integration allows for dollars to flow into it that are, are a little bit mindless in terms of just passive investment dollars that are coming out of paychecks. And I think that is between corporate buying and treasury holdings of Bitcoin and the reoccurring buys that take place on that side, and then the retail side of it in retirement. I think those are the two systems of purchasing or really the buying support that drives the floor up. And I think we've seen that. I think everybody that's been through a few other cycles have seen the difference in this consistent buying floor that we've had this cycle. And I think that's because a lot of institutional money has to buy in over a long period of time. And that's consistent flows of buy orders, especially on the dips. And, for us to be above 100,000 for as long as we have, for us to have a 20+% potential gain between 100 and the all-time high, those things are pretty attractive for entries, especially for big money and long-term perspectives. So I'm really fascinated. I'm glad we have Matt today, because I was kind of ignorant to the subject of self-directed IRAs before we got really hand in hand with their company. And they've just kind of announcement here. I think a lot of people know it. We've sent it out in our newsletter, but we are working with Directed in our customers have told us many, many times, we have self-directed IRA accounts, or we have an interest in putting retirement dollars into crypto, specifically Bitcoin. And we need help doing that. And so this has been on the docket for a while for Arch Public, but Directed has just been an enormous help. Number one, they're customer centric like we are. And so they treated us like a customer and got us very educated very quickly on these subjects. But they're also integrated with Gemini. So, Gemini was our first integration. And so that makes it very natural and seamless. But I want to hear from Matt for a little bit as it pertains to the evolution of self-directed retirement accounts versus, the traditional.
That was my question, because Tillman, Matt said, Fidelity allows you, thank you, Fidelity, 20% of your IRA
it's my money.
into Bitcoin.
It's my money.
And but I remember the early days of self-directed IRA companies that were very focused on crypto, right? Self-directed IRAs have existed for a long time. Matt, maybe you'll give us a bit more history, but you can put a cow and some gold and land and some Bitcoin with your keys in a self-directed IRA, right? I think most people still don't know. But I was actually curious when the ETFs hit how that would affect the self-directed IRA business, because you just buy Bitwise or iBit or Fidelity and you no longer maybe have that thirst to have a self-directed IRA, but you just hinted to the fact that there's limits. I would like to have my whole IRA in Bitcoin.
Right. Yeah. So exactly. So with the self-directed IRA with us and what we do, you can be 100% into crypto. I mean, you could do a Roth IRA and it can be entirely tax-free. You can even do a health savings account. So a lot of traditional financial services are going to gatekeep how much you buy. Your advisor is going to try to talk you out of it. Right. And so what we've done is say, hey, this is open architecture. Buy what you want. Buy the cow, invest in the crypto, buy the precious metals, whatever you have passion about and think is going to add a tremendous amount of value. I mean, in 2017, like I bought it with my Roth retirement account. I bought Bitcoin as 2,500 per BTC. I was like trying to pioneer this. I had a lot of really smart clients. I was a tax lawyer at the time that were trying to figure out, I mean, they had already made a bunch of money. And they're asking me in 2017, how do I do this in a more tax advantage way? Can I buy this in a Roth retirement account? Because I was like a retirement account guy. And I'm like, I don't know. Let me go try to figure it out. So I just like dove deep in it and tried to figure it out. And now it's way easier and you can be far more strategic about it. I know with a lot of clients at Arch Public, they want to like optimize the market and it's going up and down and they want to make money in crypto, not just buy and hold. For the long haul, which there's value, of course, in the long haul as well as it's going up. And so, well, that's kind of painful personally doing that, right? Your tax return looks like is pretty busy. You know, you got to check on the box one on the beginning of the page of the 1040 that you've made money on digital assets. And so
nobody's made money on digital assets.
Yeah. Well, the IRS asks you, it's the first damn question after you write your name and social security.
Yeah, rising tide lifts all boats except for all the crypto we own. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, well, you know what? As long as the IRS is getting money from us, that, you know, they're going to be happy. That's one thing the government needs. So steady flow of income. So in some ways it's a good thing to the long-term deal here. But I just think like there's kind of two powerful things here. One is the access and opportunity to do it, whether that and Bitcoin, you know, is of course the leader there. But, you know, there's a lot of other ETFs that aren't out yet, you know, and we see a lot of clients to try to optimize and buy those cryptocurrencies before the ETF. And, you know, you can pretty much buy anything with a crypto IRA with us that's on the Gemini platform, which is a lot of different tokens. So yeah, I think it's been a huge opportunity, and it's been awesome to work with a lot of Arch Public clients who are a lot more sophisticated, I'll say, and have a good outlook on crypto. They want to allocate it and do it in a smart way. They can use the Roth retirement account to do it totally tax-free, keep all the wins. And so I think it's something that's been around, as you said earlier, Scott, but I think doing it in a smarter way, greater access, and having more control of how you want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, so less specifically about what's being offered, I want to kind of dig into the earlier conversation about how much money this really unlocks, because I think that's the big story. It's not the only thing, right? So you got Bitcoin is the best risk reward investment right now. I think we all agree with that. But nearly 20% of millennials are adding crypto to retirement portfolios. So you've already got 1 in 5 millennials. We know that there's a huge wall of money that's going to come from the boomers to those millennials, and it's probably going to end up in self-directed IRAs or being invested by that millennial and not their dad's registered investment advisor, right? We know that's a huge problem for the IRA space. We have $7.5 trillion right now sitting in money market funds, the highest ever. Of course, this is people who are enjoying the high yield environment that we all know is going to go away. So what happens when yields go back to ZERP? These money market funds are earning absolutely nothing. That's going to be a whole lot of people that are going to be buying crypto. And of course, the Republican bill, based on the executive order from Trump, that Bitcoin and crypto will natively be allowed in 401ks, right? So that's obviously a massive unlock as well. So there's just walls and walls of money. And a lot of that in retirement accounts are waiting to come in to buy Bitcoin and, frankly, everything else, right?
Yeah, and I think the one thing, Trump's executive order that came out has maybe 2 months ago now on kind of alternative assets in your 401k was huge. I mean, Trump came out and said it is the policy of the United States that your retirement account should own alternative assets. And then they described later what an alternative asset is. And number 2 on the list was digital assets. Like, he's changed policy in the US in a massive way. I mean, Biden ran away from this stuff, right? And was leaving the US behind in this, in the crypto space. And Trump's came out and I think for everyday Americans, it's really, really important. This is like long-term wealth building. Like, we're trying to build wealth in America. And so I think it's important for all of their portfolios to have a retirement account that they're looking for, so they can build in assets they believe in that are going to grow. But also, I think for like the business of crypto in general and just the asset class in general, I mean, Washington, D.C., the more entrenched this gets in people's 401ks and retirement accounts, they're not going to want to mess with it.
But it has to be codified into law.
Yeah.
Executive orders, we know, are only as good as who happens to be sitting in the seat at any given moment, right?
But I'll say this, and I don't mean like geek out tax lawyer on it for a second, but like like what you can already own it in a retirement account. Like, we actually didn't need the executive order to do it, but he's trying to break down some of the lawsuits and fiduciary liability issues that everybody has that's kind of scared Wall Street and typical financial services away from it, who kind of gatekeeps 401ks.
Right, but really. you can't own Bitcoin and hold your private keys in a normal Roth IRA, right?
Yeah,
so there are things, or a 401k. So there are, especially for the actual community, a lot of nuance that's important to people in the way that they would want to hold, and if they can actually buy spot Bitcoin rather than just something that gives them exposure like an ETF.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll say the ETF, keep in mind, most of the ETFs have about a 1% fee, just in time as you're in that thing. So there is definitely a cost. That depends on how much you're buying, of course. But yeah, I mean, I think on the key side, there are some more advanced strategies on how to figure that out. We've helped clients do that as well. And you can even do that with a crypto account with Arch Public.
I think it's both, right? It's every avenue that we can create that brings an ease to the user, right? The different people want to own different assets. Most people who are high net worth, most of the people that we're talking about as potential investors in our sector, they invest in everything that they believe is a good diversification tool. So it's a question of like, what percentage do we capture? And I think, the headline that we showed earlier about, $144,000 Bitcoin or whatever that price prediction was, that's on the low side. Well, it's also their first price prediction. That's how it always is. Everybody starts out now, what were registered investment advisors saying, or the big talking heads of our industry saying, like 1% allocation when they first started. Then they went to 1 to 3% allocation. Well, hell, everybody's now talking, 10 to 15% allocation, or a complete death to the 60-40 portfolio. And now it's some, 60-30-10 or 60-25-15. Who knows? But I think it's a very slippery slope. And I think when you start applying the growth potential and the asymmetric opportunity that Bitcoin possesses from a scarcity perspective and your potential ownership percentage of a very scarce, highly sought after, very asset that has an extraordinary track record, both technologically and price wise, I think that all those things make it exceptionally appealing to have some exposure. And I think the fact that Matt and his firm are focused on giving the freedom absolutely to the people, they're starting where it's what I would call the non-negotiable, in my opinion, because I think that's the standard by which crypto has set for the world. If you want to pay someone to custody your assets for you, whether they're digital or non-digital, fine, right? If you have a big ranch and you need to pay a ranch manager to custody that asset, clean up the stuff and mow the lawn, that's the same thing, right? You're just spending money on the asset, right, while it appreciates. The good news about crypto and what we love about it intrinsically is that there's no middleman tax. And when you put it into a retirement account, then you have the government giving you extra incentive to on top of the asymmetric opportunity that you already now possess. I just think I think to Matt's point earlier, and I've said this about our corporate treasury management side of it, and I've seen the outpouring of private businesses that want to invest in Bitcoin. And I had this light bulb moment that I was like, you know what? This is how America rebuilds the middle class. And I think it's with that and with retirement accounts being put in Bitcoin. I really do. I don't see a stronger, a case to be made on any asset. And if we could pull that off and start to tighten the wealth, gap in America, I think that's a strong middle class is what's made us who we are. And that should be the focus, whether it's through technical innovation and or through savings mechanisms on highly appreciatory assets.
Yeah, it's a great dream, but have you seen the national debt and inflation lately? Because there is no middle class. Thank you, Andrew.
Don't wake me up, Scott. Don't wake me up.
Tillman seems to be running for office here this morning. Retirement account holders are the backbone of this country.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Matt Sorensen, and I support that message.
This message paid for by Matt Sorensen.
Podcasters are the backbone of this country. God knows what movie that's from.
No, freedom of access is the backbone of our country. And freedom and rights to choose with your money is the backbone. And it's the same principles that really got me attracted to mining Bitcoin. Is it was, you're directly affecting the network, and you're a participant, and you're doing it in a way that's, you're directly involved and you can control. And those things are priceless to me. I think a lot of crypto people find those attributes to be very attractive. I'll put it that way.
There is a, what we haven't said yet is just take what Scott's doing with our products. He's essentially farming volatility with Ethereum and Solana to put it into Bitcoin. And yes, there are going to be tax ramifications with that. If you if you remove those tax ramifications, I mean, you're talking about turbo on top of turbo on top of turbo on top of turbocharged returns.
Yeah, I should have been running this in my IRA too.
Yeah, the volatility farming with those two assets and putting it to Bitcoin, it's just, it's compounding on top of compounding on top of compounding. And then you add, again, a box that you can put it all in that is tax advantaged, is just an extraordinary setup. If you have any sort of IRA that wants to be involved in crypto in any meaningful way, this is the way to do it. Like, this is absolutely the way.
No question.
Yeah, no question.
I might do it. We might have to run a second account. Back really quickly to the conversation about getting things like this codified into law. Yeah. I think it's just worth noting a few pieces of news today. Obviously, the Fed having their payments innovation conference, that's not passing anything to law, but damn, I mean, the Fed is having an entire conference on crypto and Bitcoin. If you want to know if we've made it, I don't know where we've made it to, but if you want to know if we've made it, we got the Fed. And then today, these crypto C-suites are expected to attend a roundtable with pro-crypto Senate Democrats on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. You can see the list. It's the usual suspects: Brian Armstrong, Sergey Novogratz. Everybody basically saw sitting at the roundtable with Trump when he was first elected. And then, of course, Senate Republicans call for own meeting with crypto CEOs after Democrats sit down. So, this is clearly a bipartisan arms race for who can win the hearts and minds of the crypto lobby. Let's be real, it's about money. But either way, I mean, this, there's real momentum still here that we haven't been talking about for a while because the government has been shut down for going into the fourth week now.
Yeah.
But that momentum is there the minute that the doors open back up.
Yeah. And I know we were joking about Tillman running for office, but I mean, literally, like, that conversation and those points he was making is what's happening in DC. Even our industry says those are literally the conversations about people being able to do what they want to do and invest that they want to do. And also this feeling kind of like for Republicans and Democrats of, well, we don't want to be the country left behind. We don't want to be the idiots that gatekeep this and other countries have success and crypto is no longer US centric. And we have some other nations and countries profiting and benefiting from that, even down to their individual citizens. And so I think there's like this kind of like, in some ways we're competing on a world stage with this asset class, and letting Americans win on it has been a kind of a message that I think has really resonated, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. And so I think this letting people, and I said, from as far as like, especially a lot of the Senate Democrats, even the ones that are pro crypto, letting people invest in this asset class and have allocation to it is like a huge step. And it's only the first one. I think we're going to get greater and greater adoption of it.
The most promising thing that I saw on that list was that, CEOs of Uniswap, I mean, they're digging deep into the bag of crypto. And they're saying, okay, we're going to adopt DeFi. That's incredibly encouraging. You just talk about like this innovation, where does it end up unencumbered? That's the question I ask myself, because I think, it takes a lot of vision to start a self-directed IRA company that allows people to buy crypto. And I think that type of innovation, I've seen their customer base, they're rabid. They're the largest in the space. They've got over $2 billion under management.
$3 billion.
$3 billion under management.
Yeah. Oh, inflation! I told you guys.
So you go to the captains of our industry, and what are they all doing? They're responding to demand, and they're creating innovation in products and vehicles for capital to be placed into our sector or industry, whether it's to, paper representation of the digital asset or building infrastructure in the rails. There's so many ways to contribute, but the story I think is how quickly the adoption is coming, and the demand of the retail market for it is just it's beyond. I think it's the first thing that I've seen in a while that's captured everyone's attention. And the question becomes, we've been in cycles before where your lawn guy tells you like, hey, what do you think about this coin? That's the quintessential death nail of the bull market, right? But I think this cycle's different. I think you're going to see more and more people that you would not expect come to the table and say, what about this crypto thing? And I don't think it's going to be the indicative death nail of the bull market. I think it's actually just going to compound in its synergy. And we're going to see an exponential growth curve, or at least a section of exponential growth curve over the next 4 years. I really do believe that.
Lawn guys are the backbone of this country.
KOLs are the backbone.
I can't get the movie. I can't get the movie The Campaign out of my brain.
I was like, yeah, it's The Campaign. Zach Galifianakis, right?
Yeah, we're talking too much about Washington D.C. and politics, but it is interesting that again, we had an election that was meaningfully adjusted in one direction because of crypto and the amount of capital and the work that was done on that side. And if you're a politician, you'd be foolish not to try and capture that. What is hoped is that trickles down to meaningful legislation. I do know that, the biggest of the big names are now saying, hey, we got to get legislation through. We got to codify this stuff. We've got to get some guardrails to everything. Larry Fink of all people was talking about it last week. Now, again, the other thing that happened is, there was a proposal put together that nearly almost crushed DeFi from one side of the aisle. So that's the reason why all those folks are going to go meet with some Democrats.
We do not have an all clear yet. I mean, let's be real,
no,
right?
no, absolutely, we do not. So
the only thing we've done that cannot be undone is maybe kind of the Genius Act.
Yeah, and so as per Uniswap, that's the reason Uniswap is headed to Washington D.C.
Yeah, but it's a funny joke. Okay, how's it been trying to crush DeFi over the last 8 years? You can't crush DeFi, right. So good luck. This is a pitiful excuse at a last attempt negotiation. I think the cat's out of the bag. I think that it's good. I'm glad that everybody's taken their time to go and meet with the politicians so that we can get laws codified. But to think that they actually are at a place of understanding to where they could write the laws that would be codified. No, they're just bringing in all the smart people that understand the space to write the bill, basically. Well, it has to be written. It's going to be written.
To your point that it's a train that doesn't stop, just a quick little headline. Tether just announced they reached 500 million users. I think about that. There's 500 million users for Tether. Like, you're not going.
Coinbase is in the S&P 500.
You're not going to stop. You're not going to stop that. You're not going to. You may put some effort into it, but it's going to bowl you over.
Yeah.
Matt, I know we kind of got to let you go, but we're going to give you your final thoughts from Matt Sorensen.
Hey, I just think, if you care about crypto and Bitcoin in particular, and I think we started this off with a setup about some of the money flows. I mean, Scott, you talked about money market, $7.5 trillion sitting there. Where's that going to go as rates continue to drop? And then I think the retirement account, this steady and consistent flow of money, which is where most Americans have their investable dollars, 50 trillion sitting in it right now, a couple trillion going in every year. I mean, that is massive for crypto as we're seeing greater and greater allocation for that, more and more opportunities, less restrictions. I think it's important for the asset as it's getting more money put into the system, and also for the investors that are going to have greater access to it. Plus, doing it in a tax advantage way, which we love the Roth account because it grows and comes out entirely tax free. So I think that's my final statement, and I support this message.
Yeah, really quickly, he does support this message. You guys should see, Matt has a huge YouTube channel, by the way, in case you guys are wondering.
Yeah, I'm almost at 100K. I almost got my silver play.
397K views, 389K views. I've never done that.
Listen, anybody who
I
has
stink at this.
Look at those thumbnails. Those are insanely professional.
That's Diddy with his mouth covered. Look at that one.
Oh yeah, I was all over Diddy. I was all over.
Don't say that out loud.
When you
say Diddy was all over me, if you want to get paid.
Yeah, when you spell your name with one T. I mean, that's just elite right off the bat.
I'm all about efficiency.
That's elite with no T's.
I'm all about efficiency.
Yeah, what I heard Matt say is if we get 10% of the retirement account money, we double our market cap. So to 8 trillion or, it's a lot of money. Let's go get that.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw, I know we're letting him go, but Bitwise did a kind of one of those that you just mentioned. They said if 3 to 4% of the capital rotates from gold to Bitcoin, we basically, Bitcoin price goes to 250.
Again, that's just gold to Bitcoin. That's not other assets to them. That's
and the PayPal president saying sell your gold and buy Bitcoin. PayPal president. I mean, these are like real people that people actually listen to for some reason, saying things that we like about us. I like that. Matt,
the broken clock is right twice a day, Scott.
Clock. Okay, boomer. All right, Matt, we're going to let you go. We're going to keep going. Thank you so much for waking up early for us.
See you, Matt.
I don't know why I am not doing the thing in my IRA. I should have done that.
Listen, ADHD podcasters are the backbone of this country, okay?
You're talking about Matt, obviously. That guy clearly was all no. He was like the most non-ADHD, but he had
middle-aged crypto KOLs are the
backbone of this country. That's right. Uh-huh.
Hey, so should we talk about how epic Arch Public is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, first of all,
I got really excited
when I've had to put our conversation on mute because Scott is so excited that he's texting all day long, 24/7. This trade's gone off.
I don't care about your time zone.
Reception, and he's putting screenshots of his trades in the chat.
I got up at 3:45 this morning, and the first thing I noticed, I bought a bunch of stuff at 2 a.m. You want to check it out? Look at this. Bottom ticked Bitcoin to the literal penny of that move down. 107.4. Solana, okay, the bottom was 182. We suck, so we only bought it at 183. ETH really awful. I mean, look at that huge wick that we missed.
Listen, you don't want to
buy sarcasm, guys. ETH, I guess, went to a low of 38.40. Since we're basically homeless guys, we bought it at 38.64. And go back to that Solana one. Like, it's been unloading every pump right before it drops. Like, it's unbelievable. How do you do it? I don't understand. How do you do it? It's magic.
You know what?
How you do it. And I knew you did it because now that I haven't been using things.
This is important. This is important to talk about here in a public venue.
But you guys can see I got 12 of these things running. So before it was like, hey, I'm in a dollar cost average. That was cool. It's not like we've never looked at or used your products here, right? And but like when I got this, when I've nailed this exact 12 algos in, and we just actually yesterday tweaked the intelligence ones. But man, it is a sight to see. It's like we buy a little, we sell a little. There's more cash. It buys Bitcoin.
It's a disciplined approach that you came up with, that you set it and forget it, and you watch the discipline happen. Those, when you see a candle that's very large, that has a lot of volume and a lot of price movement, that's momentum, right? And when you're on the other side of that momentum, that's a great spot to be. Why? Because every smart person that's ever been an investor or trader says things like buy when there's blood in the streets. That's what Warren Buffett says. So, you have to be counter the mass to be effective. And so when everyone's selling, which you, in a perfect world, you want to buy on those exhaustion points. And that's exactly what you set up to have happen for you, Scott. And the best part is now you don't have to wait around for those events to take place. They happen when you're asleep. They happen when you're at the gym. They happen when you're eating dinner. It's
I can't open my Robinhood. I was going to show my Robinhood. I can't open it because the AWS thing is down. And then I just went to open it. It was like verify your ID, and it needs my camera that I'm using to take a picture of my face. So I literally can't. But you guys will see, like, I immediately added 50 grand more to the account. I've almost bought through all of that because I am me. But and you talked about being patient. I was wildly impatient the first day, for those who don't remember. And I basically they were telling me, it'll trigger. I was like, no, these haven't triggered in a week. I back tested. Let me just unload 35% of the account above 120 the first day. So the numbers, I'm up, and imagine how much better I'd be if, I had actually
this is all a part of
not
the
that
journey.
I'm mad that I bought Bitcoin. Listen, that was still buying at 120 and 121 instead of 125 and 126.
Bingo. Listen, you can't go wrong when you're buying the dips and you want to own an asset. That is the proverbial buying when it's on sale. And most people, if you're honest with yourself and you go back and look at your charts when you purchased manually, myself included, I typically buy on big green candles because those are the ones that make me excited. You don't get excited when you're losing money. That's the counter to excitement. So why try to be real prudent and rational and expect yourself to be every time and attentive when that's just not humanly possible? So setting
I would have
automation,
knowing myself, I would have 100% bought more higher.
100%.
No question. I would have been willing. And listen, I thought I was very vocal saying, hey, 125 might be a top for a little while. We might range between 100 and 125. But I wasn't waiting for 100 to buy.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It's a good idea. But I'm definitely the kind of person who'd be like, I've got some money today. I'm going to buy Bitcoin, and I'm price agnostic, very sailorish.
Yeah. It needs to be said, and this is this isn't a commercial for Arch Public. It's a conversation about what has been built. And yeah, we've got a team of developers that do a great job of coding everything. But I do, for the record, want it to be known that Tillman is the brain behind all this. He's the one that came up with arbitrage, came up with Oracle protocol, came up with accumulation, came up with our ladder strategy. He's the one that's done all that stuff. And most people don't know that. Most people think we've got a bunch of people in a room somewhere, just pounding away on computers. We do have that, but it comes from the mind of Tillman, and it's extraordinary stuff. I mean, Scott, you're taking the journey of all of our customers, specifically our concierge program folks. You see it, and every single time
I've done 6 or 7 calls with your guys.
Yeah, you're like,
I tweak.
Yeah, you're like, holy smokes. You wake up at 3, whatever you did today, and you're like, this is incredible stuff. It keeps selling the pops and then grabbing nearly the absolute lows. It's magic. And so flowers to Tillman and the work that he does with our team. But then 2, again, it cannot be overstated what it feels like to have tools that do the thing that you would most want to do in this space. And then to be able to dial it in however you want to dial it in. If you want it to be slowly liquidating a position, yep, we can do that. If you want it to quickly build a position, yep, we can do that.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
I was like, I should be buying $10,000 every time one of these fires on a 1-hour candle, right?
Yes. The best part is there's no wrong answer. If this thing will let you drive the car as fast as you
My goal was to buy more Bitcoin, not to make more money. I've said that's a bunch of times. I believe it will make me more money, but my dollar balance on this is not my benchmark of success, or I wouldn't have been at the very beginning like, let's accumulate a position first so that the thing can actually start firing.
Well, let me thank you for the kudos, Andrew, and I do appreciate it. And
flowers. We gave you flowers.
Flowers.
They were not kudos.
Yeah. Well, I like kudos too. Those are those still around?
Do you remember those granola bars? The kudos? Those were so good, man.
There's a story there. There's a story behind it.
Here's the thing though. I'm not doing anything that hasn't been done in the traditional markets. These are all things that have been available to the traditional space for a very long time. And what we're doing is we're bringing it to retail, right? That's the objective here, is to break down the walls, the access barriers that traditionally, like what these tools have typically been behind is a brokerage firewall, where the elite traders within a specific firm use these tools for themselves, and they set up hundreds and thousands of purchasing instances, and they're essentially market maker tools to some degree. And they do that behind their firewall with proprietary software that at great lengths they go to protect. This is breaking down those barriers and essentially giving those same tools to everybody so that they don't have to sit and be a slave to their screen every day. That's the emotional whipsaw the markets will put you through as a trader is what makes everyone fail, truthfully.
Yeah, I mean,
what were y'all smiling at? I didn't read that.
Put that back up. I put it.
The important question is for me is the
Don't hear any banging in the cellar today. I guess freed sloth to go find a pirate ship.
All the framing is finished.
What are you building down there?
I don't know. More stuff. We're just finishing the basement. Yeah, finishing the basement.
Have you not heard him on podcasts? And he's got like kids running in the background, and
everywhere.
Like he's building a jungle gym down there. It's a whole kids theme park, a water slide area. You know, it's
a little Neverland Ranch down there for the kiddos.
By the way, to the person that sent that message, I'm not entirely sure if we're allowed to use the word GIMP anymore. I think that may be off the.
It's a movie reference, so you can say it.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah. You can't quote Pulp Fiction without saying it. By the way, is this guy using your tools? Because Tom Lee bought another 63,539 ETH worth $251 million. That's like today. He had bought $1 billion more on the dip or something. He's going to own all the ETH.
I'm shocked that someone didn't take the Michael or the Sailor ETH spotlight sooner, right? He's the perfect guy to do it, and I'm glad. But he has become Michael Saylor of Ethereum. I mean, he's the largest shareholder. I think they have 5%, don't they, of the supply?
Yeah, it was 2.5 before all these buys, so it's got to be climbing. I just really want to know that if I come to Andrew's house, what's the safe word if I'm stuck in the basement?
GIMP.
I know what's going on down there.
That's the safe
that
word.
Room is red. He watched a few too many 50 Shades episodes or movies. And... oh God!
Listen, I didn't watch the movies. I read the books. Okay,
should we bring Matt back and see if we can make him uncomfortable?
I'm a mindful individual.
Now I know it's a joke because he's not reading anything.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I am not a book reader. No.
Yeah. So in all seriousness, we're now Robinhood, Kraken, Gemini, Coinbase. Any so
we do have an announcement. And
what jurisdictions are we not covering here?
Well, we're excited about a new partnership that's come to our attention and come to our plate. OKX is really excited about working with us, and I think there's a lot of potential there, both from there's a lot of things they can offer that we've never been offered before, and so I don't want to speak out of turn, and you'll have to wait to hear more details about that, but I do think that that's going to be an exciting announcement, and I think there's going to be some really interesting things that come about because of it.
Yeah,
so we're pretty pumped about that.
I might or might not have a good relationship with them.
Yeah, without getting into specifics, there may be, let's just call it, an incentive or two associated with OKX that I think will be meaningful. So people get to make their own decisions. Kraken for Canada.
Yeah, I was just going to.
If you're a Canadian, jump on Kraken. You'll be good to go.
Get it, Kraken, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, OKX will be awesome.
Yeah, they seem to be really forward thinking, and what we're trying to do and why we offer our product for free for everyone to try. And it's not a watered down version. It's the full unencumbered version. So you can actually see what you're getting into. Is that once you try automation, you're kind of addicted to it. Scott, you can probably attest to that more over the last couple of weeks.
I'm never manually doing anything ever again. I'm going to get you guys to find something to do dishes, watch my kids. I'm automating everything. I'm done.
Imagine the objective of life was to catch fish. You can stand out there and fly fish. Very boring, very tax intensive from a labor perspective. You're sweating, you're casting, you're getting caught in bushes, you're retying flies. It's a pain, man. I've been a fly fisherman. Or if the objective is to catch fish, you can put a line in the water with a bobber attached to it and a worm and you just wait until the bell starts ringing and you go down and you reel in the fish. That's the analogy I would give as it pertains to automation. It feels very freeing because you're doing other things and you hear the bell go off and you go, wow, I've caught some fish. And so that positive reinforcement gets you more and more engaged with the software. And that's where the story starts. For each individual, the story is different. Everybody has a different journey. Everybody has different objectives. But this will, to Andrew's point earlier, help you achieve any objective that you have. And we're very passionate about kind of peeling the curtain back on this technology and showing people that it is available to them and they can control it. And we don't custody anyone's money. It's safe on your exchange
that should be very
choice.
Clear, because I get that question
all the time. Yeah.
And concierge members, top 10 are going to get an outing to Andrew's basement.
Yeah, come on. I'll grill you some steaks. We'll have a good time.
Sorry, Tom, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I think that covered it. I just think it's, once you see it, you'll believe it. So call us. We've got a ton of great customer support folks that are very passionate about walking you through and getting you set up. And once you get set up, your journey isn't over. Scott has readjusted his algos 4 times since he started 2 weeks ago.
Am I weird?
No, you're not weird. You're exactly you're the prototypical customer. Everybody has this journey of, okay, I want to see a lot of action. Okay, that's too much action. Oh, that's just right action. Oh, that's enough capital. I want less capital applied, more capital. Everybody has this natural evolution of really finding the sweet spot for them. And that's about a month journey, or, I would even call it longer than that, to find the absolute perfect sweet spot. Give it, 60 to 90 days and you'll be a pro at the software. You'll be able to do anything you want, and then some.
It kind of makes me want to see, I'm not going to say this out loud because people will be mad. Okay. Kind of makes me want to see price go a lot lower.
Yeah. It retrains your brain. You see dips happen and you're like, boom, I'm getting
it. Every one of them, even if they're higher than the next one, because I believe this thing will be at, 250, 500, $1 million, whenever that is. And I'm going to be really psyched that I bought it all the way down, even if it keeps going.
Yeah.
In Europe, really people ask, is it available? It's available everywhere. I mean, it's available anywhere any of those exchanges are available. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not only is it available in the UK, but we have 2 employees from the UK, so you can talk to somebody in your native tongue and work on your own operation.
Yeah, we can't understand our UK guys. we use Google Translate when they talk on our team meetings. But yeah, you did.
Find a trailer for me, ma.
No, but it is going to be good because the timing is weird for for operational hours. So yeah, it makes it easy.
They live in a dumb time zone. Like everybody should get on our time zone because we're the best.
I wouldn't call it that.
Did you know that in Asia it's like nighttime when it's day here?
In Australia,
they literally can't even do daytime at the right time. It's ridiculous.
In Australia, it's the future. It's tomorrow plus 2 hours in Australia.
Aren't you right based upon how close you are to UTC? Isn't that how they measure correctness?
Yeah, aren't we like Universal Texas? That's
Central Time. That's the Universal Texas Time.
Time zone maximalists are the backbone of our country.
Just off the rails. Archpublic.com. Regardless of your time zone, whether it's right or wrong, we won't judge you because there's no more cancel culture, so we can't cancel you for living in the wrong time zone anymore. And you can sign up for all of this and use it. And I'm going to just keep sharing it. And you guys can make it okay, if you don't like it, or if you do, you can see it.
It's free, by the way. Use it for free. If you want to just try it, use it for free. If you don't like it,
I can literally just I can show you guys the log really quick. This is a sole chart, but this is all the times that it's fired.
Yeah.
So far.
It's a lot of action, but look at the action. All the buys are at the bottom of big red candles or blue candles in this instance, and all the sells are at the top of big green candles. Yeah.
On the 17th, it bought some ETH. On the 20th, it was a slow kind of over the weekend. It sold, and then we bought 3 times today. Down here, we were selling things that we bought. Sell, buy. I mean, it's just back and forth, man. Yeah, and listen, I have it set so it can't sell below my cost basis.
Yeah,
that's why we're not selling Bitcoin right now, which I don't want to do anyway. I do have it set up so it can sell a little Bitcoin if we get a massive pump, but only obviously. But because it wouldn't be doing this if we were below cost basis, right?
Well,
so I'm making money.
That's right. Every single time the bell goes off, you're in profit if you have that box checked in your software, because it won't sell below your cost basis and it won't sell without a meaningful move up. And you define what that meaningful move up is. And so Scott has a lot of instances running on different time frames, but let's just take one for example. If it goes up by 2.6% on a 4-hour time candle or a 4-hour window, he's going to sell 50% of his last taken position. So he will take 50% in profit if there's a move above cost basis of 2.6%. And that's why you see those pink arrows all on the upside to the blue arrows, because those are all above cost. Those are all in profit. And that's exactly what you're doing, is you're yield farming, essentially.
Even if it was literally would be smarter than me, even if it was just simply programmed to buy the end of a bad candle and sell the end of a good candle over time, I bet that would even work. And this is 10 times more intelligent than that.
And it is. Yeah. You can't beat it.
I never, ever buy the top of a candle in a time period that I've set ever.
Nope.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I can't sell the bottom like a capitulating jackass, which is what humans will do given the opportunity. They will sell the bottom and buy the top. I'm not doing that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we got for you today. We managed to literally just make jokes for 17 minutes of the 53 that we were here. At least Matt still likes us because we let him go before.
Algo traders are the backbone of this country.
Automated algorithms. All right, we will see you. We'll see you next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I'm going to be the 6 a.m. guy. I'm going to be in Vegas. Going to Vegas. I'm on Monday at 4 p.m. 1 hour after Texas, probably maybe 2 hours after Texas. I'm trying to adjust my mind to Texas Standard Time, but Las Vegas time. I'm interviewing Sailor at Money 2020 Fireside.
Dang. That's a big one.
Yeah, let's act like it's a big deal, but we know I'm not going to get to talk.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Saylor. That's how I start. And at the end, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Saylor.
You need to ask him, do you recommend all private companies that are accumulating Bitcoin on their balance sheet smash buy at the tops, or do you think they should algorithmically buy the bottoms of dips? And we need to get that clip. And then we'll use it as a promotion of algorithmic trading for retail. I do think that a lot of people, I've had people tell me, well, I'm just going to buy whenever I see an orange dot on Sailor's chart. And I'm going, well, he's buying on leverage. And those are the points whereby which he gets the biggest leverage or the biggest debt to buy. Do you have that same advantage? No, I don't. Well, then why are you doing
I can't raise debt. No.
It doesn't make
but what
sense
should be
for
notable is
anybody
that with his most recent product was STRC. He's paying a 10% yield. You view that? That means he's willing to basically make his cost of capital 10%, probably more with expenses just to buy Bitcoin. Right? He's willing to take basically a 10% haircut. It's pretty incredible.
It is.
I'm going to ask him about all of it, or if he lets me ask.
Try to. Yeah.
I don't know. They might be like, bring out the GIMP and Michael Saylor, and then I'll be the GIMP and. Send me back to my basement after. No, it should be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be great. I haven't done a proper sit down with him in quite a while, so it should be great. And so I'll see you at 6 a.m. next Tuesday. Enjoy. Thanks, guys. I'm sure I'll be in great shape. It's Vegas, right?
Yeah, you did so well at the Bitcoin conference earlier this year. You were in such great shape after the third day. I was very impressive.
Tip-top.
Go race some cars for us. I'm jealous.
I will. I'll try to do that.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Got to go. See you later. Get back in the basement,
Scott.
Andrew. Bye.
Let's go.